The Hollow Knight soundtrack is ridiculously good. Christopher Larkin did a brilliant job with every single song, and deciding which one is the best has been a hotly debated topic in the Hollow Knight community for years. That said, with Silksong looming around the corner and a whole new soundtrack awaiting us, I decided to rank every song from Hollow Knight in order from worst to best. The only problem is that it's really hard to label any songs from this OST as being the worst song in Hollow Knight because they're all so incredible. So I'll be framing this as more of a top 40. I don't care that there are only 40 songs in the 2 official playlists, shut up and let me have my video. These are my personal top 40 songs from Hollow Knight. Okay, I'm also leaving out the Nightmare Lantern track because even though it's technically an official one, it's like 15 seconds and not really a song, so I mean, I guess that's number 41, I don't know, leave me alone. If Dream is the track that's in dead last, you know that the soundtrack has some crazy high quality, because there isn't really a whole lot wrong with this song. It fits the atmosphere that it's in really well, and honestly the only reason why it's so far down is because it's just not a very exciting song. It's really simple, empty, and not that entertaining. I would listen to this as ambient background music for sure, but there's a lot better down the list. For rank 39, we take a big jump up with Reflection. It's difficult already for me to put this song so low on the list because I really do love it, but again, there's not a ton going on here. Reflection is peaceful, soothing, and it makes you feel like you've made it to your destination. There's a lot of empty space, but the song itself doesn't feel empty. It just feels like you can take a break because there's nothing that's going to attack you anymore. Another really simple song, Crossroads obviously plays in the Forgotten Crossroads, and it complements the tone of the area really well. It doesn't have a ton going on, which makes perfect sense because Forgotten Crossroads also doesn't have a ton going on. Because of that, I don't have a ton to say about this song, so we move on to number 37. Now this one is really neat. In Godhome, we get the choir scene so often in the Gods and Nightmares album, and although this song is another slow, quiet one, it exudes the majesty of Godhome. This isn't a peaceful song, this is a bow in honor of our God song, but respectfully. It's a very good track, but it's really more of an introduction to future Godhome songs. The White Lady is once again pretty simple on the surface, but I love this song so much. It's literally just a harp playing the theme of the White Lady, but it feels raw and unfiltered. She may not be what she once was, but the White Lady is still a majestic higher being that we're standing right in front of. The track is absolutely perfect for where it is in the game, and I don't think it would make any sense for it to be any more complicated. Yeah, at rank 35 in a Hollow Knight music ranking video, I have a song called Hollow Knight. Deal with it. This is a pretty empty song, and it's similar to The White Lady in the sense that it's just a simple character theme. At its core, the song isn't really anything too special, but at the same time, it's the loading screen music and it's completely iconic, as well as being beautiful, so that earned it spot 35. For spot 34, I put Dirtmouth. The reason I put this song ahead of the others is because it just feels like home. There aren't any enemies here, and after coming back up that well for the first time from Crossroads, it's just so relaxing to hear this music, check in with Elderbug, and see if anything new has popped up. I've heard this song so much already, but I'm still never tired of it, and I don't think I ever will be. The thing that I like about Fungal Waste is how uplifting it is. It feels quirky and fun, and it fits the vibe of the area that it's in so well. I don't have a ton of complaints because, as always, Christopher Larkin has worked his magic and this song just combines with the area to get the exact feel that it's going for. Unfortunately, compared to some of the other areas, I just think that there are a lot of locations, fights, and tracks that are a little bit cooler and more in depth than this one, so Fungal Waste gets pushed down to rank 33. This is one of the shortest tracks in the entire game, under a minute, but it's filled with powerful uncertainty. The Dreamers are mystical beings that you can sense are incredibly important, and the first time you come face to face with one, you're expecting a big battle or at least some resistance. Instead, you're met with nothing, and it gets really easy to question the morality of what you're doing. This song makes you wonder if what you're doing is right and what the outcome will be. To me, it gives a sense of no turning back and inevitability. Going in a totally different direction to close out our first 10 songs, at rank 31 we have Enter Hallownest. This is one of the few songs that are in the soundtrack but not in the official game, being used in the Ferocious Foes trailer, but it's so good. It fits the theme of Hallownest perfectly, and it's a great introduction song to the game. I guess that makes sense considering it was made for a trailer. Decisive Battle at its core is just a cool song. The beats pound away relentlessly, and it's perfect boss fight music. It develops really well too. I really love the diversity in this soundtrack and the running notes, and even though it stays intense the whole time, I love how it slightly changes feel as it goes on. In my opinion, most of the other battle themes are even cooler, but that doesn't take anything away from this one. At rank 29 we have the Queen's Gardens theme. This song, to put it simply, is beautiful. It feels foreign, but peaceful at the same time. You have the harp strumming away in the background to represent the Queen. Everything feels a little subdued, but the track doesn't sit still at all because this place is still very much alive. It's another one of those songs that just feels like the Queen's Gardens wouldn't be the same without it at all. The song and location go hand in hand, and it feels like they're puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together. The Soul Sanctum is a pretty cool place. I honestly think I have the song so low on my list just because I don't like playing through the location in-game, because it's honestly really good. It develops nicely throughout and sounds otherworldly, alien to the rest of the game. It's a throwback to the past, but at the same time it still feels uneasy and intimidating. It's a fantastic track, and again, good old Chris made this song feel like it was created in the Soul Sanctum itself. Okay, you may be surprised to see me put Dream Battle ahead of some of the earlier songs, but I have a good reason. This song goes insanely hard. The start of it is kinda mad and repetitive, but I recommend you listen to this one yourself. It develops so fast into something that's just truly impressive. I'm no music savant, but to me it sounds like someone is using brushes on a snare in the background, and it's really cool sounding. It works great for the battle as well, but honestly, I have this one at rank 27 not because it fits perfectly, but because in my opinion, it just sounds absurdly good. Again, you might be surprised to see False Night so high up on the list, but listen to the theme again. It's just like an upgraded version of Decisive Battle. The bassline is so damn cool, and it's constantly driving you forward. For what is the first boss in the game for most players, this is a fantastic introduction to the bosses that later have their own unique themes. Again, the song develops really well, and if you skip a few minutes in, it reaches a place where you didn't think it would be when you started listening. Great work by Mr. Larkin on this one. At place 25 we have Haunted Foes. This one is just perfect. It's titled Haunted Foes, and it sounds like you're facing some foes that are haunted. It plays in the Pantheon when you fight Brooding Molech, Nosk, Flukmarm, Grim, Broken Vessel and Lost Kin, Markoth, and Nightmare King Grim. It's soulful, sad, and, well, haunting. It makes perfect sense for this to be the song that plays during its respective Godhome bosses as well. Broken Vessel is a fight against your own sibling, Markoth is a fight against a warrior who took up arms against the tradition of his own tribe and eventually fell on the edges of the kingdom, and Nosk is just really scary, so it makes sense he would be haunted. It's just a good track, guys. As a direct contrast, Furious Gods is another Godhome song that's incredibly intense. It's just a minute long, but it pounds away at your ears. Not necessarily in a bad way at all though. It's constantly driving forward, so it fits really well in fast-paced, energetic boss fights. I don't even have a ton more to say about this one. I think the title really says a lot for me. It sounds like you've made a bunch of gods furious. Time for another complete opposite. At number 23 I put The Resting Grounds. It's just so peaceful, man. I don't know why I love this song so much, but I do. It fits so well, and the piano is so relaxing. That makes it one of my most listened to Hollow Knight songs, and I think it's pretty underrated. I'll skip forward in the song. There's this one little part that the piano does that for whatever reason just sounds so perfect to my ears. Anyways, Resting Grounds, good song. This song just sounds absolutely heroic. It's the perfect song for a protagonist. Exciting, a little mysterious, but inspiring at the same time. I love how all the instruments come together at different parts, the beat in the background is great, and altogether, this song has to be for the most heroic character in the game. That's why it's so fitting that it belongs to the invincible, fearless, sensual, mysterious, enchanting, vigorous, diligent, overwhelming, gorgeous, passionate, terrifying, beautiful, powerful, great Prince Zoe. At number 21, we have Green Path. This is gonna make a lot of people very mad, so I'll remind you again that every song in this game is really good, and in my opinion, there's just a lot of ones that are even better than this that are really underrated. Do I even need to say much about Green Path? It's a staple of the location that made most of us fall in love with this game. It fits perfectly, it's a beautiful song on its own, and I have no complaints. In other words, every song following this is just really, really good. To kick off the back half of our OST, I had to go with Crystal Peak. Let me explain. It starts out exactly how you'd expect for an abandoned mine. Nothing too special, not that musical yet, but it gets better. If you skip a few minutes in, it starts getting intense, driving you forward as you get closer to the Crystal Heart. It feels like the caves are urging you on, and that you can overcome any obstacle in your way. I was initially going to rank this song lower, but this back half of it is just crazy cool. Gods and Glory just encapsulates Godhome perfectly. It's the Godhome song that most of us hear when we think of the Pantheons, and it's just a work of art. The choir is brilliant, the orchestra is brilliant, and hearing the start of this song gives me PTSD from my Pantheon runs. In my opinion, this hasn't transcended the rest of the soundtrack as much as some of the other songs, but it's still good enough to earn 19th place. Man, I love this song. It's just so triumphant and happy. The horns are blaring, the string runs in the background fit perfectly, and it makes me feel so motivated. How could you hate this guy? I mean, come on, it's an exciting, uplifting song for a fun enemy. Then you have some call and response stuff later, you have a clarinet come in. I mean, this one is beautiful too. I could listen to this song over and over again, and I would be ready to take on the world. At rank 17, the Kingdom's Edge theme really just transports you to a new place. This is on the edge of the kingdom, but with this song playing, it feels like you may well have been transported to a totally different world. The white ashfall, bodies falling from the Colosseum, and especially this song just give the Kingdom's Edge location a completely unique environment. It's hard to find an area's theme that has a bigger effect on the atmosphere than in Kingdom's Edge, so I think even though the song itself isn't too crazy, it deserves a place high up on this list. The Hornet theme is one of those songs that just sums up the vibe of Hollow Knight as a game. So what happens when you give it the Godhome treatment by adding a choir, more instrumentals, and making it more dramatic? Well, I actually have it lower than the original Hornet theme because I think the simplicity of the original just makes it absolutely iconic, but take nothing away from Daughter of Hallownest because this song is a banger. It's beautiful. Every time I listen to it, I'm continuously amazed that this was made for a single fight in a DLC in an indie game by an indie developer. This music is at such a high level. But again, the soundtrack of Hollow Knight is just bonkers, so it's only number 16 on our list. Yeah, like I said, the original takes the cake here. I kind of pair them together because they're so similar, but come on, the first Hornet theme is so good. For a lot of us, this was the first boss that we struggled on in Hollow Knight, myself included, and the song is really special. You don't need a full orchestra to make an incredible, tense, exciting boss theme, and Christopher Larkin made something legendary here. The first time I ever fought Hornet, I remember looking up the theme and listening to it after the fight, thinking how cool it was. It's just a great song. I've fought this boss too much to be an unbiased judge because it's a really cool song, but listening to it makes me upset and I see visions of radiance, so I want to move past it already. Still good enough to make 14th on our list, it's amazing music, but let's move on to the next one, please. Broken Vessel is a heartbreaking song. It sounds like the main motifs of the game have been distorted and there's so much tension. Your sibling has been infected by a higher being and it's trying to kill you, and you have to either end their misery to advance the game or die trying. There's no in between, there's no saving them. Therefore, this song isn't an exciting, determined, triumphant boss fight theme, this is a tragedy. It's unavoidable, but it's truly devastating, and the song absolutely reflects that. There isn't a good ending, and this fight is a turning point in the game. The infection has to be stopped because this is some seriously bad news. We go from a theme about a devastating battle between siblings to a song about a military bead defending someone who's already dead and they don't even realize it. That said, this song is just so fun and triumphant, similar to the Dung Defender one. I don't even have any specific logic and reasoning for why Have Night is so high on this list, other than the fact that it's my own list and I can do what I want. I love this song and it's really fun, so it gets to be number 12. Nosk's theme is just scary. It's different from everything else in the game, and for good reason. What a terrifying boss. I wouldn't want to listen to this very often in my own time, but I don't even think I need to argue its effectiveness. It stays within the bounds of the rest of the OST by keeping a similar set of instruments, but it's harsh and spooky instead. I may not love listening to it, but this is another work of art in its own right. What better way to start out our top 10 than with one of the most beloved themes in the entire game? This song is full of tension from the very start, and the harpsichord just adds a quality to the music that you don't find very often. Mantis Lord's fight is one of my favorite in the entire game, and I think there aren't many ways you could possibly improve this song as it is. That said though, in my opinion, Sisters of Battle, just like Hornet and the Daughter of Hallownest song, goes hand in hand with the Mantis Lord's fight, but this time, the Godhome variation just edges it. This song adds more depth that you didn't even realize the original needed. Seeing all three sisters stand up at the same time made everyone have a heart attack the first time they saw it happen, and the theme just takes everything that's perfect about Mantis Lords and gives it a new dimension, truly deserving of the number 9 spot on my list. Grimm's original theme is one of the top songs of all time for the Hollow Knight OST for good reason. The organ, the horns, the strings, the drums that come in later, it's just all so scary but exciting at the same time. This is another boss fight that just drives you forward more and more as it goes on, even turning into this rock beat with the guitar. Then you have the horn still going, and more layers get added too. It's so hyped to listen to, and I never get tired of it. It adds a whole nother atmosphere to the fight against Grimm that's already impressive in its own right. At its peak moment, this might be the best song in the game, but for my personal favorites, it earned its spot at number 8. Talk about an atmosphere shift. At number 7, we have one of the most peaceful songs in the game. It's an echo of the past that we can explore, and the music sounds dreamy, wondrous, but at the same time, a little melancholy. This may be representing a kingdom at its peak in all of its serenity, but the story doesn't have a happy ending. We know that. This song is a glimpse into a past where there was still peace, but the slightest bit of tension in the music as it slowly and subtly builds betrays the underlying story behind the music. Past that, it's also just a chill song that I like listening to without the constant buzzsaws in the background. White Defender just takes everything that I loved about the Dung Defender theme and amplifies it. It's triumphant, heroic, and this time it feels fulfilled. The original Dung Defender theme has moments where the sound just doesn't feel totally whole, like it's a simplified version of something greater. Well, this song right here is that something greater. Then if we fast forward again to this part where it totally changes feel, it's absolutely magical. You can hear the majesty of the White Palace, but then you have some uneasy notes in there as things aren't totally right. Then it shifts right back to his triumphant theme. In my mind, this theme is a snapshot of Ogrim right before the palace falls. The king and queen are still themselves, the infection hasn't taken over yet, but things are just starting to fall apart. Enough to give us one small note of uneasiness, but still have a glorious theme for a glorious warrior and hero of the kingdom. It's just a great song. We've officially made it to the top 5. I don't think I even need to explain why City of Tears is this high up on the list. This is absolutely one of the fan favorite songs, and it's probably in everybody's top 10 at least. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's truly set apart from the rest of the game. It's a moment of tranquility in the rest of the chaos, and hearing this song with the rain pattering down just hits different. It's stunning. I don't even have anything deep to say about it. It just makes me feel a different emotion every time I listen. I can't tell if I'm happy, sad, or if I'm just chilling. Okay, Sealed Vessel is a roller coaster. The first time you hear this song, it's a little mind-blowing, I'm not gonna lie. It starts out explosive, dramatic, exciting, exactly what you'd expect from the title boss of the game. The countering runs from the violin and piano are just ridiculously good, and oh my god, it's just a legendary song. But then we hit this moment of extreme tension, and everything changes. This is all still on one song, but in just a split second, it's completely changed tone. If you're only listening to the music and you haven't seen the game, at this point, you get confused. What happened? Isn't this the final exciting boss? Why does this sound like it's turned into a tragedy? Well, that's the thing. This always was a tragedy. Okay, this isn't exactly an analogy like you were probably expecting, but hear me out. The Hollow Knight is kind of like Darth Vader. In this instance, it's the main character, the namesake of the game. It was the chosen one supposed to vanquish the infection. It failed its job, but with the help of you, the player, it's mustered up the strength to end its own suffering and save the kingdom. This song isn't the epic fight between you and the Hollow Knight, it's a stunningly beautiful piece representing the story of the Hollow Knight itself, how it's fought against the Radiance and sacrificed itself to save everything. It's a song of mourning and regret, a final requiem for the hero that came back to finish off its original job in the end with the help of the knight. Truly a masterpiece of music. Again, this is just ridiculous that it's in an indie game score. Christopher Larkin is a genius. For my third favorite song in Hollow Knight, I have the song that helps to answer one of the questions a lot of fans in the game have before they realize Pure Vessel exists. If the Hollow Knight is so strong while being infected and fighting itself, what about if it never got infected? Or if it had overcome the infection? Well, in Godhome, we get to find that out. Pure Vessel is a song that feels like we are in the presence of a true god of the game. It's regal in a way that the other songs just aren't. This song feels like it demands respect and fear, and the Pure Vessel is just an absolute monster of a boss that deserves that respect and fear. In my opinion, Sealed Vessel is the second best song in the game objectively based on the music alone, but personally, I like listening to Pure Vessel a little bit more, so that's why it edges Sealed Vessel on this list despite not having quite as much depth. I just said that Sealed Vessel is the second best song in the game based on the music, but the number one spot on our list here isn't actually the best in my opinion. No, that honor goes to this track right here, Pale Court. Pale Court isn't actually ever featured in the game, but it was recorded live for a release in the Gods and Nightmares album, and my god, what a song. If you can listen to it on YouTube while scrolling through the comments without getting chills, I think you're just built differently than me. To quote the top comment on the video, you can hear the rise and fall of a kingdom in 4 minutes. It is truly a masterpiece. The track starts out more simple, like a remix of the White Palace theme, but then it quickly turns into something different. It slowly adds more and more tension, and you can vividly imagine what's happening as you listen to the music. The kingdom slowly starts to fall apart as the infection is spreading, and the Pale King starts to panic as he goes through whatever measures he possibly can to stop it, but it doesn't work, and the song by the end is subdued again. It sounds like he's given up, and he's ready to just sit on his throne and wait for death. Like I said, it's just an absolute masterpiece of music, and I recommend you listen to it yourself. It would take something truly special to beat this song to the number one spot on my list. Haha, Grim go brr. That's such a fucking stupid joke. Nightmare King Grim is just an absolutely insane track. It takes the peak of the Grim Troop and then starts there and only goes up. My favorite song in this game has changed multiple times, but for now, NKG takes it all. It's just absolutely epic, and my countless battles against the Nightmare King haven't changed my opinion at all. I feel like there are some other songs that might be objectively more impressive in terms of symbolism, like Sealed Vessel or Pale Court, and there are definitely songs that I'd enjoy listening to in my spare time more, like White Palace or The City of Tears, but when it comes down to it, Nightmare King Grim is my favorite song in Hollow Knight. I'm sure that not a single one of you agreed with my entire list, but if you made it this far, I'd love to hear what you thought about some of my picks in the comments, or what your own favorite songs are. Also, I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before Silksong comes out, so if you enjoyed the video, it would mean a lot to me if you helped me hit that goal. Only if you enjoyed the video and want to see more though, of course. I know that setting my goal to be before Silksong comes out is most likely giving myself infinite time, but whatever. It would be cool if I got there at some point, you know what I'm saying? Alright, that's all for me. Thanks for watching, have a good one. Can't wait for the Silksong soundtrack.